Welcome to beautiful Olomouc. This is the Matoni Olomouc Half Marathon on June the 23rd, and a very nice evening. This is Glenn Latimer, helping with the English broadcast with the very able assistance of Jim Mobley. Jim, you've been here many times. This city is quite amazing.
It's a beautiful city, and the residents, it's a beautiful old city, I should say, but the residents have really taken to this half marathon. This is the 9th year for it, and they've made it their own, and it's one of the gold label RunCzech races.
We're about 9 minutes away from the start on a sunny evening. Last year the temperature was 34 degrees Celsius, over 90 degrees Fahrenheit. This year, quite a contrast, Jim.
It's quite comfortable as far as the temperature goes. I guess our big concern this year is the wind, but it's only about, what, 15 degrees, I believe you said?
It's dropping as the race starts from 15 Celsius to 13 Celsius, which is about 55 or 56 degrees Fahrenheit, which will feel chilly to some of these runners. You notice some of the Kenyan athletes keeping their tops on just to stay warm before the start. Last year they would have been dripping in sweat. Humidity is at 73%, but that's not a big problem. The wind is the concern at the moment, and that is gusting between 19 and 20 kilometers an hour, or about 12 miles an hour, and that's going to drop as the race progresses. But it's coming from west-northwest, so as they show this map now of the course, which is a series of loops and little out and backs, it would come from the far top left-hand corner of that course. So most of the time it's not going to be a problem. There'll be a couple of stretches where it will be a bit of a headwind or a crosswind, but most of the time it's going to be either behind them, or I don't think it's going to affect them too much, Jim.
I hope not. That would be good. I will depend on you for that.
Well, one of the goals here is to produce fast racers. There are 7 gold label, IAAF gold label races within the RunCzech series. And this one, the course record in the men's, is from Rono from 2014 of 1 hour and 17 seconds. And I know there's a lot of people who'd love that they broke an hour here today. And so you can see it's there, the trees moving. Here's some of the top runners we're going to get highlighted. Top guy is Yamal Yima Mekanon, who's run 59 on the nose this year at in Ras El Khaimah. Very good performance. Several guys 4 guys, I believe, have broken an hour.
Under, yeah, 4 under 1 hour, and a couple who are very close to that mark who could go if the wind holds off. And
the women's side has a big star in Natanset Gudeta, who is the IAAF world champion this year, earlier this year in Valencia. So there you can see the concern, the blustery trees, and let's hope that there's enough shelter within the town. And then his list of starting with the top women.
And Gudeta set a world record for a women's only race in that world championship, 106.18, I think it was.
There's some good athletes there in the, I don't know what color that is, orange maroon. That's a Selifach Mergir, who's a 2:19:51 marathon runner from Ethiopia with very good credentials. Those signs that are sticking up, Jim, explain that to the audience.
Well, they are guides who people want to run a 1:30 are between those two signs, and if they can stay with those pacers, they will get their 1:30 half marathon, and they go all the way up to about 2:30, or the race has a 3-hour limit, I believe.
Yeah. I think the average finishing time is, I was reading, is for men is 1 hour and 50 minutes, which is pretty impressive. We'll see what we get today. I think you'll see, like most of these races, that it's like a big cake with lots of filling, but the icing is fairly thin. So the people at the front are the elite runners, the icing, and there's not any marzipan now. If you're old enough to remember cake with marzipan, you don't see marzipan anymore. There's nobody in the middle there.
No, it's elites and what they call hobby joggers in the U.S., I think.
Yeah. Or I don't know if you're a fun runner, if you're running a half marathon, 21 kilometers, it's a serious event. There are several. There's one of our local stars, Eva Vrabkova, who we saw earlier this year, Jim, run in Prague and set a Czech record.
She's national record holder, 1:11:01. She broke the 30-year record by 1 second, I believe. But maybe with good conditions, the wind dies down a little bit, she could go a little faster. She ran 2 weeks ago, was it, in New York in the Mini?
Yes.
With, 3,000 women, finished 8th overall. So she's in pretty good shape.
And an interesting background. She comes from the cross-country skiing world. And,
yeah, she was an Olympian 3 times in cross-country skiing. Yeah. So she had the endurance, which she still has. It was the speed she needs to work on a little bit. There's Petra Kaminkova in the black top. Yeah. Petra is 44 years old now, so she's not really competitive at the front, but she has won 42 national championships over the years, and she's a local legend who lives just outside of Olomouc.
Yeah. That's Alexander Zitovsky from the Ukraine. He's run several of these races. A good crowd. This is a major event in this city. In the far east of the Czech Republic, Olomouc, it's a historic city. It's famous for its universities. Race director Václav Škrivenek there is giving the athletes the sign that there's just over 2 minutes left to the start. I'm sure this race will start exactly on time, as always.
There's your favorite, Jamal Yimmer.
Yeah.
There's Eva.
So there's one pacer there who's going to try and take the men out at the 1 hour even pace. That's Kenneth Ketta from Kenya. That's quite some tattoo that Lilia has there. Must have cost a few bob, as they say in Britain.
Very flowery.
Yeah. A bit like the eagle you've got on your back, Jim.
Yes, yes. Never got around to that. No. Sorry, Glenn.
So this is the major sporting event here in this city. Just talking to some local people this morning, and they have their own team here, a football team who occasionally does well in Europe and plays in Europe and the various European Cups. But this is the big sporting event. So.
It's over 6,000 runners registered for the race. So when you consider the narrow city streets in these old towns and the size of the city, it's a good event. It's a very big event for them. Ready now for the start. See all the elite athletes grabbing their watch so that they can start as the gun goes. Now the race is going to be started by our mayor of the city, Antonin Stanek. This Moravian city. We're in the old area of Moravia. A lot of the buildings have a very German flavor, I noticed. Very Baroque. Yeah. Wow, that is some tattoo. You're right. Yeah. The countdown has begun.
Yeah. Getting quiet now, right before the start. As I said that, of course, the announcers get them all to shout and scream. There's our mayor, Antonin Stanek. Gun is up. We're ready for the start. And away we go. The 9th edition of this Matoni Olomouc half marathon.
See the RunCzech vests on the two pacemakers, or three pacemakers actually, one for the men and two for the women.
And the strains again. It's a very popular tune to play in the RunCzech races as they start. This is the Moldau, the
Vltava.
Yes. By Smetana, the Czech composer, and it's this tune means such a lot to the Czech people. The race starts on these cobblestones, and then it gets onto nice clear roads, but so it's cobbles to begin with and then cobbles at the end as you finish, and a little piece of carpet for the last little bit.
Get on the blue carpet and you're coming home.
So the runners are going to go out heading this way, and they'll come back in the opposite direction, and we'll keep you posted as we see the various split times on what they're going to do. We're going to take you through all the top international athletes, the top Czech runners. We'll do the finishers, and then we'll do the award ceremonies at the end with the top 3 men, top 3 women, and top 3 Czech athletes, men and women. So we'll cover all of that for you. A lovely evening for running for 6,300 people, I believe, Jim, in this half marathon.
That's how many are registered. You know, you always have a few no-shows, but I think the weather being what it is, they're probably a pretty good number out there.
And earlier we saw 3,700 people in the family run with children and whole families together. So a total of 10,000 people being active in Moravia this evening. Just a sea of people there, and you wouldn't be wearing that jacket if it was 34 degrees Celsius like last year. So
the course records are interesting here.
Yeah,
you said Jeffrey Ronos.
Yeah, an hour and 17, and the women's record is by Mary Catani, which is 1:06:38, which is very good running on this course, which includes cobblestones and a lot of turns. There's several out and back sections where they go around a cone and do a turnaround, so that tends to slow runners up. So we'll be looking at what Sanet Gudeta can do. She, to me, would be the favorite, I think, Jim.
Yeah, well, based on that March race in Valencia.
Yeah. Well, she ran 1:06:11 there, so which is below this course record. We'll see what she can do on this course, and of course it depends on the race and the competition and who goes out. Some of the other athletes to watch would be F4 Antonina Kwambai, who's a very good athlete. F3 is Penina Kandi. We already mentioned F2 Selafach Mergia. She usually is an aggressive runner and will run at the front.
Whereas Netzanet tends to follow.
Yes. She ran here last year, didn't she, Jim?
She did. She finished second here last year to Worknesh Tegefa, another Ethiopian. Yeah. So the Ethiopian women have done very well here. But Mary Catani won here twice, and she does still hold the course record.
Yeah. Well, and Mary Catani, of course, one of the world's great female athletes,
absolutely,
distance runners, and so she's run in several of the RunCzech races. We still haven't cleared the line with 6,300 people yet. Probably.
Well, as I mentioned, these streets are a bit narrow. You don't have the wide highways you might have in Berlin or Dubai or.
And wonderful monuments and old Baroque buildings here. This lots of lovely squares. We're in what is called Horny Nemesti, which is a wonderful word to say. It just means Nemesti Square. The old square, as you refer to it, Jim, being technical. Lovely buildings, lovely churches, lovely monuments, fountains everywhere. Lots of copies of Italian cities, and 5 minutes already gone since the start of the race, and still runners flooding over the start line.
It's one of the largest Baroque monuments in Europe, I understand.
Did you mean the Matoni bottle, inflatable bottle,
just
or the
behind it?
Oh,
Just
right,
behind
okay.
it.
Yeah.
Matoni is the title sponsor for this event, though. They're based in Karlovy Vary, where we had a half marathon about a month ago.
Yep. So they've done something interesting in some of the RunCzech series races this year, where they've done something called Euro Heroes. And you want to explain the concept behind that a little bit, Jim?
Well, Carlo Capalbo talked with the European athletics people, and the idea was to get local heroes in many of these countries in Europe that people can identify with, that kids growing up in school can, look to, along with their football stars. And hopefully the idea is eventually to get everybody running, to get millions of people running in Europe, from the youngsters all the way through people our age, which is getting up there.
That old? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it took 6 minutes to clear the start line there with everybody. You saw the last few people leaving the start line. So that's how long it takes on about a 5-meter wide start line to get 6,300 people off and away on the streets. And these guys will be seeing the elite runners out on the course a little bit on some of the out and back turns. And,
yeah, those do slow you down a bit, those little running around the cones and coming back up the other direction.
All ages, all sizes, but a pretty fit nation overall, the Czech people. Most of these people are native of the Czech Republic. A lot of people from Slovakia. I saw people from Poland. We're finally going to get to see the leaders. Here's our pacer. That's Kenneth Ketter, who is leading pace number 1.
You see Justice Kangogo and Yimmer, they're both there.
Now this surface is fine for running. We're off the cobbles and we're onto normal streets now.
Well, there's only a couple hundred meters of cobbles in this whole race, so it's not, it sounds bad, but it's not that bad, really. I don't think it's ever affected the times.
Probably 15, 16 people there in that front group, including the pacers, and I think the women have a pacer as well.
They do. There are 2 pacers for the women.
Yeah.
2 groups, one group at 106.07 and one group at 110.
So the pacer leading, the guy right behind him in the greenish coloured vest with Yamal on his front is Yamal Yima, who is 59 even for the half marathon earlier this year. But he was 3rd in the world champs last year, or sorry, 5th in the world champs last year in 56.54 on the track at 10,000 meters. So very serious track.
26, I think.
Yeah, 26.54.
Yeah. That's motoring on pretty well.
The young man in the blue vest, second in from the left, is that's Abel Kipchumba, who we saw earlier in the year win in Napoli at the Napoli half marathon. And there's the lead women and the split screen on the right.
So the 2 Kenyans are leading. And then
Mergia right behind them with F2 alongside Eva Vrabkova and Natanset. Well, that might be some women up ahead, and maybe that's Natanset Guduta up there. I don't know. This might be the second group. We haven't got a clear picture yet.
Which would make sense that Eva's not running with Gudeta, but they've got a nice group of women there.
Yeah.
There are 5 women in that group.
But if that group that we saw just ahead, and I'm sure the camera will move forward then, if that is who we think it is Natanset Gudeta, then that would, she has certainly gone out and has about a 50, 60 meter lead already on the main pack of women.
There's the top two Czech men, Vit Pavlista and Jirka Homolach. Jirka's been racing a lot. I'm not convinced that he will do well tonight, but I know he's very competitive, and he certainly doesn't want Vit to get him, so he will compete as long as he can.
Well, they were being, I saw them both at breakfast this morning. They were being very friendly, so I'm sure it's a friendly rivalry.
Yes, it is, but competitive. You know, when you get on the field of play, you.
Yeah. Now there's our lead woman on the right. That is Natansit Gudeta, the second person behind the guy with the baseball cap backwards. And that's our pacer there. That's Abdelkabir Saji, who was from Morocco, and he's going to pace Gudeta.
He's done a good job before,
yeah.
so I have confidence in him.
Mm-hmm. She looks very relaxed.
She does. She does. That's very impressive. I think that big win in Valencia gave her a lot of confidence. That really boosted her worth, self-worth, if you will.
Maybe around 5K we'll get some splits and get to see the time differences between Gudeta, who's clearly gone off ahead as we anticipated and guessed, and with that second group, what that gap is. I haven't had a shot from the second group for a while just to see what that distance was.
Right.
Still that big group of men there, so men about 2 minutes away from being at 5K.
They look comfortable.
If they're going to break an hour, we'd expect them to be there in about 14:10 to 14:15. They'd pass the 5K point, so we'll see what they do. We'll see how good our pacer Kenneth Ketter is doing.
Yeah, if he can do as good as the pacemaker for the Prague Marathon did.
Yeah.
Where Jana asked for a 103.5, and that's what he did. And a bunch of RunCzech racing vests in that lead group. These are guys who don't have contracts with shoe companies or what have you, but they get some gear from Adidas, and they get a chance to race in the European Union, and hopefully build a reputation for themselves.
All the principals are there.
Yes.
All the key guys, and so a good sized group. We'll see probably 40 seconds away from being at 5 kilometers, the first mark, to see what that produces. And we'll get an indication of what we might anticipate as a finishing time. Yamal is only a young guy. He's down as 22. He looks a lot older than that to me, but that may
He's
be
only 21, actually, according to his birth certificate, because his birthday's in December. But as we discussed earlier, the Ethiopian birth records are strange.
Well, sometimes it's when the family decided to go and register it, and then when somebody can remember when it might have been. And so some 26-year-olds are 21 according to their official documents. There's 5K. They just passed in 14:20, which is about an hour and 29 minutes as a finishing time. So a little bit slower than anticipated. So I don't know if that's to do with any wind in their face at that point. They just turned in to face the wind, and as they headed to 5K, so maybe that slowed them a little bit, but they were getting a crosswind until that point.
Now Jirka and Vit have their own interior race going on here, which is kind of nice for the local folks that know them. And there's that second group of women.
Yeah.
Still 4 of them there, maybe 5. I see a pair of shoes.
But that's quite a distance up ahead to where Gudetta is.
Well, you would expect that if she's going 106 pace and they're going 110 pace, then
she's probably already around that corner, I think, because I saw the motorbike go by. So Gudetta will be very close now to the 5K point. I don't know if we're going to see that.
But we still have 5 women in this second bunch. And some pretty good runners, plus Eva Bravkova. So that's a good sign for her.
Our leader in the women's race would have been just under 16 minutes, but if that's up by that motorcycle, maybe it's hard to see without until we get some official splits popped up on the board, but maybe 15:50 or something like that.
Which would be a 106.49 pace.
Which should be very close to the record. So she's obviously having a go at that. And again, that was a guess from a camera way behind. Now we're coming up. So Gudetta with her pacer, Abdelkabir Saji from Morocco, and he looks very nice, smooth action for a pacer.
And for her, excuse me, and for her.
Yeah, she doesn't have that tight arm action, so like so many of the lead women do. She's just very relaxed, and somebody tailing off there.
But even I don't see.
That was the. The guy who was tailing off there was Francis Damiano Damasi, who is from Tanzania. So the lead women were passing him. He didn't last very long.
It was his debut. He's quite young. I think he's only 17 or 18 years old, and he probably got in over his head a little
may have
bit.
gone. So there's the splits then. 14:15 they're giving us the time, so we didn't see that, and then so that whole group. So 14:15 is the 5K split, and 14:15 gives us an hour and 8 minutes on the nose. So
an hour and 8 seconds, I guess.
Yeah, 8 seconds, sorry.
But that...
so that's just under the course record if they keep this pace. So I guess Kenneth Ketter is doing a nice job there. Pace number 1.
And there is a bonus for course record, so I'm sure that's in the back of their minds. Right now they're racing, but...
Well, there's €1,000 if you break the course record, but there's if you can break an hour, there's a €5,000 additional bonus. So I think I'd be trying really hard for that extra 8 seconds. Look at that beautiful Baroque building there. When we come back to the lead women, I think we'll pop up the top times in the women's race at 5K, and then we'll have a good indication of what that gap is back to the second group.
Gudetta doesn't look like she's that far behind the men. She really is out in the country already.
And here we go. So 15:55 was a pretty good guess looking at the TV screen earlier, and 18 seconds back to the second group. So 15:55 gives them right on 107 is the projection on that. So outside the course record, but
not by much. And if she's
early doors, as they say.
Yeah.
And she looks very strong. She looks very smooth, very strong.
She's almost running up the heels of her pacer.
Yeah. Well, if she's running this sort of pace, she's going to get, in my estimation, she'll get awfully close to Vit Pavelista and to Jiri Homolak. she won't be that far behind them.
Exactly. Also, the women in the second group are still going at about a 108 mid or 108 high, which for most of them is quite good, especially for Eva Ravskova.
Now, here's Homolach trying to get away a little bit from Vit Pavlista, but hasn't shaken him off yet.
Typically, Jurka is the better runner, but as I said, he's been running a lot of races, and in the last race, Pavlista beat him, so I'm sure that's on his mind. He's checking back, and it's you haven't broken him yet, Jurka. No. I can tell you that. Just listen to us.
15:18 at so about a whole minute behind the leaders when they went through the 5K point. That is so.
Yeah, they're on something on the order of a 106 pace, so it's not great for either one of them, really.
Well, if you look behind there, you can see the motorcycle way back, probably 100 meters plus back, and that's where the lead women are.
So Gudeta might catch them yet, or
the men would look to be about 28:30 at 10K, so still some distance to go yet.
Still about 2K to go. Yeah, they're about 8K right now.
Nobody bothering with the aid stations on this temperature and 13 degrees or 55 Fahrenheit. Nobody needs a drink.
The elites in the half marathons don't seem to drink much, and you know, they don't have any special bottles. They don't have any.
Not necessarily in a half marathon. So you can survive perfectly fine. If you don't drink in a marathon, you're in big trouble. So you must get liquids in. And
one of the little rises coming over the bridge, but nothing. There are no big hills on this course. The only enemy is the wind.
Somebody else dropping off the back there.
Yeah.
Moving pretty fast the way they were going around that corner. It's like Formula One.
Really leaning into it. Cut the tangents. That's what we were always told. Cut the tangents. Run the shortest. There's 8K right there at 23:06.
Well, they've slowed a bit if that's the case, but
they're on a 1 hour 35 or so.
Eva Vrabkova.
She's on her own there.
She may have dropped behind those.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think the
two Kenyan girls, Penina Kandi and Antonio Kwambai, and then the Ethiopian Selavac Mergia. They were the ones who were in that second group.
They are known 108 type of runners, where she's a 111 at this point, and probably could go 110 on a good day if the weather holds up.
Thomas Eldman with a...
Edelman, yeah. He's one of a pair of twins who runs for Slavia locally.
So now the camera's going to go up, and we'll see on the motorbike cam
how far the group is. Yeah, good.
Well, that's a good. Here's the second group of women.
Yeah, they put some distance.
Yeah. So the taller athlete is the Selavac Mergia in F2. Right. F4 is Antonia Kwambai, the young Kenyan girl.
Right.
Grabbing drinks there, Mergia.
Or dropping drinks.
Yeah. And I think there's one other athlete there, probably Penina Kandi. We'll see in a minute.
Well, she was there with them.
She was. The angle's just strange.
I don't see her.
No, I don't see her either. Not unless she's much further ahead. She may have, or further behind. Could be either. This is that little rise over the river.
Antonina's making a bit of a move. Substantial move right there. Trying to get back to those men.
Well, she might be in second position. We're not quite sure yet. We'll see at the next split around this tight bend. I don't see any other women ahead.
No, I don't either. Merza would be expected to be. Well, she has a faster PR, but
a couple of years ago she finished third at London Marathon, and she's got good credentials. Usually you could rely on her to run 2:23, 2:24. Her best is 2:19.51 from 2012 at Dubai Marathon. Tend to get fast times at Dubai that athletes don't reproduce always in other places.
Yeah, there are how many 2:04 men from Dubai that have never been able to do that elsewhere?
Antonina Kwambai is looking good there.
And on her own, it looks like.
Now we're racing up to get to the lead. And here we are.
Yeah.
And there's Gudetta. So that's a...
So there's no one between Gudetta and Kwambai.
No. So they went backwards, not forwards, we thought. The men probably a minute and a half to 2 minutes away from being at 10K.
Right.
And this is just Nitsanet's Gudetta's race to lose, isn't it? She just looks very smooth. Is following her pacer all the way.
Yeah, I think the thing she's got to concentrate on are some of those, the course record, for example.
Yeah. Well,
but you know, Mary Katani set that record, so it's not a soft record.
No, well, anytime you're running under 107, that's good going. So she's course record 106.38 by Mary Katani from 2015. But good conditions for having a go at the record today.
Yeah, Mary ran that race when it was pretty warm. Not as warm as last year, but still quite warm. And that convinced her.
So the men getting close now to the 10-kilometer point. The guy with his phone taking video. I'm sure that'll look wonderful when he goes back and looks at it, just bouncing up and down. Kenneth Ketter, our pacer, pace number one, men number one, still striding out. He must have seen the 10K sign because he's...
Looks like they're a little reluctant to stay with him.
Yeah, and he slowed a little bit.
Once they start concentrating on the other runners instead of the pacer, that's...
There's Sitkovsky, the Ukrainian, who's got together with the two Czech runners. You said they were running about 106 pace.
Yes.
Homolach still trying to get away from...
well, Homolach's PR is in the 102.30 or something like that, and so he...
102.23, good memory, Jim.
He spends the winters in Kenya for the last couple of years, training down there in Iten at altitude.
Well, Sitkovsky, Alexander Sitkovsky there is a 209 marathoner, and he's struggling on that little bit of a rise there as they go uphill. He's dropped 5 meters very quickly. Pavlista looks like he knows what he's doing. He's just letting Jurka do all the work and get interested in the second half of the race, I'm sure.
But Jurka looks very determined also. So Hopefully we'll see a split
Yeah.
from that 10K,
Yeah, I'm
because
sure
they definitely should be past it by now.
Well, they're sure they passed it, but it's probably closer to 29 minutes than 28:30, because these guys are getting close now to the 10K point. Sikowski, as soon as it got smooth again, he was able to close that gap, but going up a slight rise, they gapped him. So
I guess he's not a hill runner, huh?
well, it's usually a sign of how you're feeling. If you drop off a little bit, then when the pressure goes on, then that may be a sign that he's, well, we'll see. He may just dust these guys later on.
Yeah.
Okay. So the men well past 10K now. I'm sure we'll get the split shortly. They'll post that, and then we'll see what the projection is. It was projecting over 1 hour. Here we go. 28:48.
Yeah, that's 1 hour and
about
40,
40.
yeah, about 1 hour and 40 seconds or so.
So outside the course record at this point. But an interesting race bubbling up, because we've still got, in my estimation, about 10 or 12 guys there.
The thing is, if you have a pack like that, the last 2K can get very interesting and very fast.
Yes.
As they try to shake one another off.
Our favorite Yimmer is right in the middle.
11K at 31:46. So let me see, 31:46. Yeah, they're at a 1 hour and 40 something seconds.
The guy who's floating along on the far right, looking very good, is Evans Chariot. He looks very good.
You got Justice Ken Gogo in there. He's a quality runner. Yimmer seems to be sliding back a bit. And I don't know who the kickers are in this group.
Well, they're about to do one of their little U-turns here and go back the direction they came. See, all the pace vehicles already made their turn, and now the athletes are going to do their turn.
There they are. Abel Kipchumba looks pretty good to me.
I saw him earlier in the year in Napoli, and he won that race, and I thought he was going to break an hour, and I predicted then that he's got the ability to break an hour later in the year.
Well, he's got a chance to do it tonight if he gets on his horse.
Well, now they've got a bit of a tailwind as they head back towards the city and back towards the old town.
Maybe they'll help pick up the pace a little.
It's a good race with this many people involved.
Yeah, let's see, how many do we have there now? We've got 3, 6, 9, 10. At least 10 in the group, plus the pacemaker.
Yes. And nobody looking terrible, like they're hanging on. They all look like they're feeling comfortable.
Checking their watches, blowing their noses, whatever, whatever natural occurrences might happen here. $12K. 34:45.
Yep. About an hour and 50, 51 still is the projection.
Gudetta and her pacemaker out in their own.
Gudetta's style is changing a little bit. She's working a bit harder. If you look, her shoulders are now rotating a lot more.
Right. You know, you mentioned that tight arm action that many of the runners have now. Even Katani has that, and it hasn't seemed to hold her back much.
Still on right around 107 as a projection, 107 even. 31.57 at 10K.
She may have enough left in the tank to put on some finish sprint. But that's still a ways to go, 9K.
See, the vehicles turn earlier than the actual corner. It's too tight for the vehicles to go around. A motorbike can, but the runner's about to make this U-turn between 11 and 12K.
Oh, I see, yeah.
And she did a nice job going around there. And now the groups in the second group will get a good chance to see just how far the distance is from the leader. That's one of the men.
That's one of the
Edelman
brothers.
I think it's quite a gap now to the lead women. They were probably this group coming now, would be my guess. Still there is the second group of women. The two, or three.
Three.
So where did somebody join that group that we didn't see before? We only saw two before, and then Eva Vrapkova.
Eva's not that far back from that second group.
Be interesting to see that second group again, because it was two, and now it's suddenly three people there. We know Kwambai and Mergia were there. Still Jirka Homolec, Vid Plavista and Sitkovsky going together.
Well, hopefully that will help all three of them.
Yeah. Plavista looks pretty comfortable.
He does. He does.
In a nice rhythm.
I think he got a lot of confidence from that last race when he was first Czech finisher.
Yeah.
Do you have any further update on the wind and the weather conditions?
No, it's just staying at that. It was gusting, and there was a chance of showers earlier. They said 47% chance of showers, but haven't seen any rain yet. So it's hopefully we stay dry for all the masses, for the 6,300 people out there.
Looks like Eva's dog on the side there.
Yeah, Eva Vrapkova is famous for a semi-ed dog. Usually has photos, some music on the course there. Jiri Homolec's style is beautiful. Just his foot plant and everything, very smooth. You could do textbook stuff with him.
He's a bit bulkier, though, than the other two guys. And he's carrying a little more weight, I think, per cubic inch.
There's one guy dropping off the back of that group. Still, Kenneth Ketter is moving them along. We'd look for these guys to be at 15K in about 43.15, or a bit slower than that. Something like that if they're going to be on the same pace. So they're probably 3 minutes away from 43.15 is very good running for 15K. It's a good time anytime.
Well, that's Ketter's job, to get them through 15K, and then his official work is done.
Well, it's 20 minutes of running left, more or less, for these guys.
Right.
Whether they can pick it up enough, if there's enough there racing, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Well,
10 guys racing, whether there's enough guys to pick it up to go under an hour, I'm not sure. That's just past 14K there.
But you think they've got to start really racing at some point along here, you know, 16, 17K, somewhere in there.
Somebody's got to have a go, yes.
Yes. They're all checking one another out, but they're not really pushing like.
There's a nice static camera, that one. They get nice,
there's
crisp, clear picture.
no headwind there. Look, they're all across the road.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good indication, Jim, when they spread out like that. They're not, when they run what's called Indian file, one behind the other, then they're into a headwind. But now, the guy that we haven't mentioned is sitting just in the back of that group with Gilbert on the front, Gilbert Massai, and he's one of the favorites. His manager, Gerard van der Veen, was fairly confident that he could win this race, so he's just sitting in the back of that group. Guy with the, shall I put it politely, thinning hair at the back, Gilbert on his front.
We all have that problem.
Some more than others, yes.
Now they're in that nice section of the park where there's a lot of spectators.
It's a lovely section, cheerleaders there on the Matoni stand, and just a beautiful, all the herb gardens and flowers and sort of a natural garden setting. Don't know if this is part of the botanical gardens, or may well be. It's just a beautiful section.
Now go down to the end here and turn and come up the other side. And as you say, they're approaching 15K very shortly.
The 15K is right by where they'll do the U-turn, so. Seems to be a few more. Pace has picked up because they're stretched out. There, it's probably, well, one guy is dropping off the back, but they're like 8 to 10 meters back now. So that's the guy dropping back was RunCzech Olomouc.
From the Run Together group.
Yeah.
But there's a slight downhill there, so it looked like they were stretching it out a bit.
Just a beaut. This is the favorite section, I think, for both of us of this course. Just a lovely section.
I like it a lot, and you know, it's very nice for the spectators. They can come out and spend the day at the park and
listen to the music and
watch the race, admire the cheerleaders, whatever.
Here we come, the leaders.
Timing car. Media car. That's a big Volkswagen, isn't it?
Here they come.
They come.
And the pace is, oh no, he's still there. I thought he'd gone, but he's just running off to the side. And
yeah, he's not doing his job now. He's past 15K.
He's moving back. Yeah, Stephen Kipper was the one leading there. I think we'll be showing the split for 15K in a minute. Evans Chariot looking good, the taller guy on the left of the screen.
So there's 10 runners still there if you count RunCzech. So and Kenneth Keeter, but he's falling back a bit.
Yeah. Suddenly it's stretching out now. It's getting serious time.
Yeah. And Ymer's decided to make a little push.
I think RunCzech's not going to stay with that group. No.
And I don't think Kenneth is either.
I don't know. He may just be running back to the finish.
Yeah.
So Stephen Kipper is the one who's pushing here from the RunCzech team.
Very definitely pushing. Time to go home.
Avoid the tram lines, but he's looking very good.
He's got about 4 or 5 meters already.
Well, and he's a 59.44 guy, so he's certainly got the ability. 43.
And he looks very comfortable, you know. I just dropped his arm a bit there, but
43.21. There is again that just 60.45 or something like that.
So they've got about 5K to go,
yeah.
And they need a good fast 5K to get under
Yima
that
the only
up.
one to go with him, and the race is suddenly 2 people, I would say.
Yes.
Stephen Kipper and Yima past 16K.
Reminds me a bit of Daniel Winchuro.
Yeah. Smooth action there for Kipper. And Yima just going to tail him. So you've got a 59.44 guy against a 59 even guy. Finding the smooth parts of the road either at the side or between the tram lines. Don't tread on the tram lines. That can be disastrous for an ankle.
Oh, that can do it.
Yeah. It's funny to see these old traditional towns with the trams still functioning as the main form of public transportation.
But there's very good public transportation here, as there is in Prague.
Yeah. The 2 guys behind look like they're working very hard, the 2, Abel Karui and...
yeah, compared to the 2 leaders, don't they?
But I don't know if that gap is closing. We'll see. Looks like they're trying to. If Stephen's just thinking that he'll run alongside here, he's with Yima.
Typically, the Ethiopian is following the Kenyan's shadow.
So Evans Chariot and Abel Kipchumba are the 2 in 3rd and 4th place. And that 3 or 4 seconds is just nagging at them.
And here comes our threesome of Jirka Homolac, Vit Publista, and Alexander Sitovsky. In that order.
And should get great support from the local Czech crowd. Well, I don't know if Sitovsky will, but the other 2 will. Got to give it to Jirka Homolac. He has been the aggressor, hasn't he? He's tried to push and tried to get away. He's got nowhere away from Plavista there in 2nd place, or from Sitovsky just sitting on him.
I think Sitovsky is probably figuring he's going to outkick them, but Jirka does not have good finishing speed, unfortunately.
Gudetta. And where's the pacer?
I think he's gone.
Oh, well, that would be a surprise. You would think you'd have a man who could run that pace all the way, but...
We get a chance to look ahead. No, he's not there.
So, it's Janet Gudetta on her own.
She's really, if you look at her arm action now, she's really rotating a lot on the upper body.
She wasn't earlier. She was smooth earlier, but now those shoulders are... If you just drop a plumb line from her head down, you just watch how those shoulders are moving, just rotation.
Yeah. It's got to be tiring.
There's the pacer.
Ah.
There you go.
Maybe she's made a move. I don't know.
Well, he got his doors blown off, didn't he, after 15K? Or maybe he only thought his job was to go to 15K.
There's the other Edelman twin. Also, she left him behind. Wasn't he with her? Yeah, he was for a while.
Now, shouldn't be too far to see in the second group of women, which will be interesting to see who exactly is there. Here they come.
Yeah, who's the third woman? Well, there is no third woman. There's two women there.
Well, the French girl,
Ah.
Calvin, is there.
I'd like to see her do well. That would be nice. Would fit in with...
This is Trihas Gebri, the Spanish athlete, originally Ethiopian, who is leading that group with a Selafach Merger. I don't know what happened to Kwambai. She's gone behind, and Clemence Calvin, French girl who you and I were speaking to in our best English-French earlier the day, she is coming up on them. She just ran 31:20 in a road race in France and did very well. She's got great credentials across country. Here is Antonina Kwambai running with a very good performance here from Eva Vrabkova.
Eva could break her own national record at this pace.
She's running a great race, Eva. Because Antonina Kwambai is normally somebody you'd expect in the top 3, and Eva's running just a superb race today. These conditions must suit her.
Now, Netsnet is still under 107. She's in the high 106 pace, but I'm not sure if she's going to be able to hold that for another 6K.
I missed the 15K split for the women.
It was, yeah, it was 47:40 something, 47:47 or something like that.
Okay, well, it's so right at 107 or
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so our two
107 low or 108, 106 high.
Well, this gap between third and fourth just got blown apart because Yamal Yima and Stephen Kipper have put what was 3 seconds is suddenly 20 seconds, and it's these two. So who you got your money on here, Jim?
I don't know, but doesn't he remind you of Wanjiru?
Yeah, just smooth as anything.
It's just a question of who's got the track speed, I think. I think it's going to come down to that. And right now, Stephen looks better than...
Stephen looks very smooth, and they were running side by side. There isn't room to do that in the gap between the tram tracks, so they've taken different lines. But that's probably 3 or 4 meters gap that Stephen Kiprop has over Yamal Yima. And Yima looks to be working harder.
He does. He looks like he's worked. To me, it looks like he's working harder than Stephen.
Stephen, very nice style, very smooth. He won his first half marathon early this year in the Netherlands, in Venlo, in 59:44. Not a bad debut at half marathon.
Not at all. Venlo is a really flat area down there, and I'm sure that course is a good course.
And what was 3 or 4 meters suddenly became 10 or 12 meters in that space there, and this is the big push for the victory now. About 6 minutes plus to go. See, Yima just we identified correctly. He was just working, and now he's just looking at his watch. So that's the worst thing you can do.
Definitely a sign.
So our guess is that he's probably not going to break the course record of 1 hour and 17 seconds by Rono from 2014, and he's more likely to run 60-45, 60-50, something like that is what we were projecting earlier. We'll see how close that is. Look at that gap that was 3 or 4 seconds, then 20 seconds. That's suddenly much bigger gap now back to Yima's conceded. The moment he looked at his watch, he conceded that he was going to finish second.
And Stephen looks like he's still picking it up even more. I'm hopeful that he can get close to that 1 hour mark.
Normally you wouldn't be excited about running on cobbles, but in this case, the moment you see the cobbles, you are excited because you know you're very close, about 200 meters to the finish. So still a good 5 minutes of running left.
Yeah.
He'd have to do something very stupid to lose this race now.
1.5 kilometers or so. He should be approaching 20K in a minute or two.
Well, when we see him past 20K, we'll get a very good indication of what he's going to finish in, obviously with just 1.1K to go.
He's got a slight downhill here. Very slight, but still seems to be helping him.
Doesn't look, just check in behind him, but looks comfortable.
Yeah.
Still, you can tell by the way the athletes look around. His eyes are taking in the environment, just checking that everything's good, and doesn't look under pressure. His arms are still relaxed style, so he looks very good.
Coming through a nice section of town.
Very nice.
Lots of parks in the city, and it's a very pleasant area.
So about 4 minutes of running left now for him, we think. Oh, and Sitkowski has made a move away from
put the hammer down on
But where is Pavlista?
I don't know.
Is that him back there?
It could be.
I think it is. I think Sitkowski's gone, and so is Jurka Hamelech, and Pavlista is, who was looking good, and I thought he was just going to sit on them and take them. He's, the old hands have shown the young guy what to do.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And he's not looking good.
Well, now he's started to rock and roll all over the place.
Yeah. But Stephen looks very good. I'm
getting
impressed.
encouraged from the motorbike there by the elite athlete coordinator, who you know quite well, Jana Mobley, who's must be very pleased with this performance. I know she'd like to have a time under 1 hour, but
that's the goal. But he's working at it. He's doing his part.
Yeah. 58 minutes in, just over 2 minutes of running left, and found some cobbles already, so that's a good sign. You know you're getting closer when you get to the cobbles. I find cobbles hard to walk on, never mind run on. But,
yeah, I've commented on this before. If you've got a pair of thin racing flats on, you feel everything.
Yeah. Mind you, these guys weigh 110, 120 pounds or something, and you and I are possibly slightly over that.
Yeah, slightly over.
Yeah. Still very nice form for Stephen Kipper. This would be an excellent feather in his cap to win this race.
Yeah, he beat some good runners. A little rise and then turn for home.
Yeah.
59 minutes, 1 minute of running left.
Still Yima comfortably.
Yima looks okay now.
Yeah, he looks like he went through a bad patch. Now he's trying to pick it up, but difficult on these cobbles to make a difference. Here we go.
.30 till 1 hour.
Remember the course record, 1 hour and 17 seconds by Jeffrey Rono from 2014. I'm not sure he's going to get that. He's close, but he's finishing really strongly.
Jeffrey Rono beat Wilson Kipsang.
Yeah, he was supposed to pace him, wasn't he? And
right, he did.
Okay, we can see the finish, and he's just, he's very close to this record.
Get on that blue carpet, come on.
1 hour and 17 is the record. Can he get there?
Very close, as you said. He got it.
He got it just
All
by
right.
2 seconds. Well, he finished really strongly second half of the race. Course record bonus of 1,000 euros to go with his 3,000 euro first place prize money.
And
Yima, a good performance as well.
Yeah. But Stephen took some big scalps in that finish. And he looks good.
And Abel Karui in third. Victor from the Napoli City Half Marathon, followed by Evans Chariot.
2 more RunCzech racers.
Again, another guy under, and I think 4 guys just under 101.
Yes.
We'll see what those times get rounded up to, but...
or down to.
Yes.
It is possible.
Yeah, we're guessing from here, and it'll be by the chip time that they have on the back of their bibs. Yes.
Comes
Justice
Justice
Go.
Festus, and
still very deep field. Good. All these guys are like under 61.40. It's the manager of these, several of these guys, Davor Saveja. There's Ronsa.
There's
he finished strongly still.
Yeah.
And there's our pacer who
Kenneth Keeler decided to finish.
And run under 62 himself, so that's good. So now we await the first Czech runner. And there's probably, what do we think, 2 minutes away? 64, 65 maybe?
I'm hoping that he will get under 65.
Going to have an interview with our winner now, coming up.
U mikrofonu České televize je vítěz Stefan Kipper. A Stefan, you are the winner. The track record. You have new track records. Yes. So what are your emotions?
I'm also breaking the record because that is what I was targeting.
Was it a difficult race because of the wind?
The wind was not bad, but there was no run.
Thank you very much.
So a brief interview, but a happy Stephen Kipper.
He seemed surprised that he got the course record.
Well, he wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Anyway.
Nice surprise.
Nice payday for him. And,
yes.
Good result.
Maybe next time you see him, he won't be wearing his RunCzech uni. He'll have some sponsor that will...
Yeah. Well, it was a good victory for him, and shows the ability he has. Is another of the Run Together guys, Philemon Maritime, winning there, or finishing there. One of the guys who was up there early on. Josfat Kiptis, who won here.
I was expecting more from him. I really was. I don't know what happened there.
Well, he won in the hot conditions last year, and then this time he's probably outside the top 10, I would say. I've lost count of how many people have finished, but we had...
I think you're right.
Yeah, so he's outside the top 10. Doesn't look quite...
Well, he was a late entry, and his manager asked to bring him in, and Yana said, reluctantly, okay, but it didn't work out too well for him.
So we should shortly be seeing Alexander Sitkovsky and Joko Homolach, if they were probably due right behind these guys, I would think, and then Vit Plavlista.
And then Gudeta.
Yeah, Gudeta can't be too far behind if she's running about 107 pace, so we're probably 2 minutes away from our lead woman. women's record, to remind you, is 1 hour and 6 minutes and 38 seconds from Mary Katani. And I think she was outside that. We thought she was closer to 107 or 107 high.
Yes, I think so.
Finishing time.
Other RunCzech racing athlete.
We're gonna, after we've brought in the leading Czech runners and the leading women, including Eva Vrabkova, who is still trying for a Czech national record.
Yeah, if she can get around 110 or under, that would be. Here comes Jurka.
And he must have.
I don't know if he caught Sitkowski or if we missed him.
No, it's
no,
Sitkowski.
Here's Sitkowski.
I'm going to say that would have been a surprise. It looked like Sitkowski was comfortable.
Yeah.
So 106.10 for Sitkowski. Not in his best form because he's a 2:09 marathon. And here comes Homolach as the first Czech runner again.
106.20.
He's happy with that.
And here comes Vit.
Vit has this young face, but he's much older than he looks. He looks like he's 18, but he's a lot older than that, born in 85.
Which makes him, what, 33?
And here's our lead woman.
There she is.
Outside the course record, but right at about the time we predicted, 107 high.
It's still a very good performance.
Well, high caliber athlete, Natansa Gudeta, world champion this year in the IAAF half marathon in Valencia, in Spain.
And the world record.
Yeah, and just over a minute slower than she ran, minute and a bit slower than she ran, but a good win today, and nice to see the favorite come through, and a great victory. Arms raised, as you should do at the finish line. Don't mess with your watch.
Show that number.
And sit down.
Have a rest.
Hard work, yeah. And the second place is going to get really interesting, because we saw the ex-Ethiopian, now Spanish athlete, Trihas Gebri, who was in second place as they were in that park area, but she looked like she was working awfully hard. And
there's Martin Edelin, who was running with Gudeta for a while. Local Czech runner.
So, and there's Mergier in second place.
And there's
Gebri in third, and Calvin
in fourth.
Yeah, all in good, very good times. This
be around 109 or thereabouts, or under. No, not
just
under.
Over.
Yeah,
just over, I think.
Good finish for all three of them. Actually, they're all working very hard. Try to hold that place.
She's looking at the watch.
Yeah. Maybe there's a 110 bonus. I don't know.
No. So good performance by Mergier to get second here. She's going to go under 110.
Yes.
And she made the podium, so she's been away from the glory for a while, but back on the podium here, and we might get a top 3 under 110, I think. Looks like
top 4.
Gebri, and good run by Calvin.
Absolutely. That's a big PR for her. She had a 111.
Yeah, a couple of minutes, and that will... she's going to the World Championships in her debut marathon in Berlin in August the 12th, the French selector Eva
Also
Brabkova.
another PR.
So she's got to break 1:11:01 to set a Czech national record, and she's got about 45 seconds to do that.
She's got it, I think.
And this will be another great story if Eva can run this and set her national record. She's got this last little corner to do. So close.
It is close. You're right. She looks gutted. She looks like she is left it out there.
She's seen the clock. She's going for it. She's got 10 seconds to do that last little bit. Oh, I think she's just outside, Jim.
I thought she had it. I really did.
Just a few seconds, but a great performance on the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 10 seconds off her own national record, but
I really thought she had it, but
good run.
I misjudged it.
Yeah, a good run, and obviously the first Czech athlete.
By a bunch.
Yeah. We're about 5 minutes away from. Is
Lilia?
The best tattoo of the day to Eva Fisikovici, who's from Moldova.
What was it? Groucho Marx had a song in an old movie about Lydia the tattooed lady. Believe it or not.
Antonio Quambai didn't have a best day today and fell backwards. She was up there in second place early on and moved all the way back. There's Marina Damancevic from Belarus.
She was a late arrival. I think she just arrived last night or this morning. Looks more like a triathlete.
Yeah.
Shoulders and
Strong
arms.
Shoulders, yeah. 112.5. There's Penina Candy, who was up there early on, and
she did not have a good day.
No. Just a few minutes away from the start of our award ceremonies, we're going to see top 3 men on the podium first, then top 3 women.
And change.
Yeah.
Not a great day for her.
Well, she'll be disappointed in that because
I'm sure.
She's a 109.15 athlete, and so not her best day.
4 minutes off that. That's a full kilometer or more. Some of the regular runners still running very good times. Sub-elites, I guess you could call them.
Yeah, I think that's a fair description. These events that RunCzech produce are always so well staged, well presented. Carlo Capalbo and his team, Václav Skrivenek, the race director, Saso Belovsky, good people who know what they're doing, know how to present things well. And obviously we already talked about the high caliber elite runners that Jana Mobley brings in. The whole team very good, and here we are ready now for on time. Look at this. 7:45, the awards will take place, and here we are ready to go. So this is the podium for the men. So in third place will be Abel Kipchumba.
Stay there. Stay up there. You belong there.
There's Yamal Yima from Ethiopia second. And our champion today is Stephen Kipper. Big victory for him. in a course record.
So a nice payday for a RunCzech Racing athlete. Notice they're all wearing jackets at the finish, which indicates how cool it is out there.
It's a key to your really, really big Volkswagen.
Right. Just the key, not the big Volkswagen. It didn't make it through the tunnel.
Here comes.
But Volkswagen is a 20-year sponsor of these events, and a very good one and a very important one.
There's the medals going on from the mayor of Olomouc, Antonin Stanek, good supporter of the event, and he was in attendance at the reception last night and made a nice speech. Looks like some nice Bohemian glass coming out now.
It is, it is. That's the tradition here, is you get that Bohemian crystal for the trophies.
Get some M&Ms in there. Yeah, try taking that on the plane going through security.
Well, they do, though. The boys take those back to the hotel and pack them up and put handles on the boxes, and I think most of the athletes do get them home.
It's beautiful.
We have one or two at home that Petra Kaminkova had so many of them from years past. She gave us.
So here we go with the Kenyan national anthem for a change. Coughing a bit after his efforts there. Now we're going to get a photo of the top three if we all get in together and don't fall off the podium with your
there's
Bohemian
not a lot
glass.
of room there.
Well, I think somebody would be happy and give us a smile. 60:15, 2 seconds under the course record. You should look a bit happier than that, Stephen Kipper, because you just earned 6,000 euros, which you can buy a lot of cattle back home.
And it's a stepping stone for him, because he'll have this on his resume. He can go to races in the fall and get into some bigger races than he could have last week.
And now the masses out there in our favorite park, Jim. Enjoying the beautiful natural gardens in the center area there.
A little applause from the crowd.
Yeah. The Tony cheerleaders still there. A few people walking at the side who went out a bit too hard and paying for it. It's a good distance to go. You're only just past 15K there, so you've got another 6K to go. Better keep running.
Yeah, but more than... Well, 3/4 of the way finished. I guess not quite 3/4.
Now we're going to have the women's award ceremony, which we'll observe and get to hear the Ethiopian national anthem for Netsanet Gudeta, our champion today. Ethiopia going 1-2 in the women's race, with Selifech Mergir in second. And I think, if my memory serves, Treehouse Gebri hung on for third, formerly of Ethiopia, now from Spain.
She could, I guess, run in the Euro Heroes events.
Yes.
We have two of our half marathons, RunCzech half marathons, have been turned into these Euro Heroes races in Karlovy Vary and Česká Budějovice.
Which is good. I think it gives somebody a chance to races not to be dominated by East Africans, and to give the European guys a chance to be a star.
Yeah, hopefully encourage some people back home. Luke Traynor from Scotland won.
Yeah, I saw that.
In Česká Budějovice, and very convincingly. He ran a good race. The time wasn't super fast, but it was all his. You know, it was all him.
These guys hammering it out for the finish now. It's a big battle going on for these places in
112?
121.
121. Okay.
Not quite 112. We should be ready for our top 3 women now, and then we're going to, shortly thereafter, we're going to do our top Czech runners, and then we'll be leaving you. Been a good evening here in Olomouc, out in the eastern part of the Czech Republic.
In the Moravia area.
We're about 3.5 hours drive from Prague, the capital.
A little over 2 hours on a fast train, which is a much nicer way to travel. They're starting to stream in a bit. It's still running under an hour and a half for a half marathon is
which is good.
Substantial.
Yeah.
This young lady who looks like a runner.
Yeah, hanging on to that sponge she got at one of the aid stations. And
maybe she wants it for a souvenir.
Well, she'll get a finish of medal shortly, so maybe that'll be enough. Close enough to smell the finish line now.
Yeah.
In Horny Nemesti, the old town square. Best sight in the world when you come around that corner and see the finish line.
Get on that blue carpet.
A lot of the runners wear these compression socks now, which helps with the, they say it helps the muscles and the, so you don't get leg swelling or anything like that, and it helps the blood flow, so very popular. She's happy. Keep that souvenir sponge. Maybe she dribbles a lot and needs the sponge, I don't know.
Like us old guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice steady stream of runners coming in.
Still good performances, under an hour and a half, so
yeah, I
good
think
running.
So. I think so. I always considered a 3-hour marathon as being, you know, when I was running a long time ago, the half marathon was almost non-existent.
That was the days of black and white television, wasn't it, Jim?
Yes, it was, yes. There you have thousands of runners.
Beautiful area. I love these natural gardens, these the central reservation with the natural sort of wildflower look. It's beautiful. And the Matoni eagle there, standing proudly.
It's an Italian name, but certainly a Czech company.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, it started in Karlovy Vary, and it's been a sponsor of all the RunCzech races for many years. Title sponsor to several half marathons. That's one thing that Carlos been able to do. He's been able to hang on to the sponsors, you know, Adidas and Matoni and Volkswagen, for example. These are people who have been with RunCzech for decades.
Which is great. Having that relationship with sponsors is so difficult to establish in the first place, and even harder to maintain, because corporations, new people come in and want to take the company in a different direction, and who they sponsor and all the rest of it.
And they do, and they often do.
This is the wave cam at just after 15K, and people get a chance to wave to their friends at home and be seen.
The deputy mayor is running. He was told last night at the dinner to make sure he waves at the camera. So
these guys getting to the finish now, trying to get under 1 hour and 30. Mark of excellence. Guy there checking his text messages. Just, he's going to do a selfie as he crosses the finish line. And now we're finally ready for our lead women and their awards ceremony. So, in third place is Trijas Gebri, now from Spain, originally from Ethiopia. In second place is Selafach Mergia from Ethiopia. And our champion today is also the current world champion, Netsanet Gudeta from Ethiopia. So she has a nice big smile.
Nice sweep for Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Unusual here. But the French girl almost got to that point.
She ran very well, Clemence Calvin, and ran a
big PR.
Yeah, it was about 69.50 or something like that. It looked like she ran, and that was over a minute PR. But she's got good track credentials, good cross-country credentials. She's running big races, and now she's headed to Berlin for the IAAF World Championships in August to run her debut marathon. We were joking with her at lunchtime that hell of a way to make your debut in the marathon is to run in the World Championships. So,
well, her answer was that it's a championship-style race, and you're not going for world records or PRs. You're going to win, to compete, and she looks like a competitor.
Well, if she's run this here, then she should be looking to run comfortably. If she ran 69.50 or something here, you would think that she could run in the 2:28 range or something like that in Berlin in the championship race, which will put her in contention, I think, top 10.
She would place well, yes. And she had a baby, what, 15 months ago?
Yeah.
And she's come back much stronger than she was before.
Here we go with the Ethiopian national anthem. together for the photos. You'll have to stand up there, Salafetch. Oh, the ladies are all smiling, so a bit better than the men.
Nicer picture, yes.
Yeah, that's nice. I think I like the Kenyan national anthem a bit better than the Ethiopian one.
The other one, yeah.
My favorite is the Italian one because I love that when they play football and they all start singing. It goes slowly and then they all join in and sing with great gusto. It's kind of fun at the moment watching the World Championships. Sadly, Italy aren't there, failed to qualify, but...
it's all right. The U.S. didn't qualify and the Czech Republic didn't qualify.
And the Dutch didn't qualify, so there we go. So, but wide open because some surprising results going on. And
today, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, another game just about to start. I think Germany playing Sweden shortly. Here's the results of the men, the top 10.
Steven Kipper with his course record. Kenneth Keeter, the pacemaker, in 9th place.
He'll show us the top women in a minute, and then we'll see the Czech runners who finished top 3 in the men and the women's side. Here's the lead women. Eva Vrabkova just outside the Czech national record. Calvin with the big PR.
109.52. From 111.17. Eva just missing out on her PR. Keep on running, folks.
Yeah, you've got about 6K to go, these people, to get finished. So they'll still be going for probably another 45 minutes or an hour.
Many of them shooting for a personal best or a first-time finish. The cheerleaders are still working.
Now we're ready for our Czech champions. In 3rd place, going up first.
Can't tell who that is. I didn't see the finish.
Second was Vit Pelvista and Marcela Joglova.
Yeah, Joglova.
Barbara Gislova is on the women's side, and Thomas Navratil, I believe.
Yes.
And our champions, Czech champions today, Jirka Homolec and Eva Vrabkova. Nice way to do it, where they all go up together.
Thomas is happy with his 3rd place.
Yeah.
They also get some Czech crowns.
Yeah. Czech athletes get 12,000 Czech crowns for 1st, 8,000 Czech crowns for 2nd, and 5,000 Czech crowns for 3rd.
So that 12,000 crowns is about 600 US. You know, maybe 400 or so, or...
Sounds better in Czech crowns.
It does, it does, it does. Some more Bohemian Crystal.
Given out by Olomouc Mayor Antonin Stanek. Looking after everybody there.
Some beautiful pieces.
Gorgeous pieces, and everything different.
Yeah.
I noticed for each.
Well,
of the
they're all
events.
handmade. That's why.
Look at the size of that. Might want to put that at her feet, I think.
She will.
You get a lot of Czech beer in that. Okay. And the Matoni girl got in there as well for the photo. Okay. I don't know if we played the Czech national anthem as well, Jim?
Yes.
Yeah, very important. Here we go.
Been a nice evening here in Olomouc.
So we're going to see the highlights of the race now coming up. It's been a pleasure working with you again, Jim, here in Olomouc.
Always nice to see you, whether in London or France or Czech Republic.
Now we'll see the highlights of the day. So this is Glenn Latimer and Jim Mobley signing off from the English broadcast of the Matoni Olomouc Half Marathon here on June 23rd, 2018.
Aloha. Great day for Stephen Kipper. Evening falls over Olomouc. We'll look forward to seeing you in September. And good evening.